Playing time. We have a football team is the ultimate team sport. I think football is the ultimate team sport that there is. In any other game, you can win a game because an individual player will dominate the game. Football, that is very difficult to do. You know, there's an analogy in the Bible about teamwork being like a body. And there can only be one head, two arms, two legs, two hands, 2 feet. And I thought that analogy is perfect to talk about a football team. Because the scout team players that we have on Monday through Thursday are just as important as the guys scoring the touchdowns on Friday night. And as long as we can understand the roles that are important to have in our football program, and value and celebrate all those different roles, and not just the guys who get their names in the paper or just the guys who score the touchdowns and get awards, it's really a program effort. And one of the things that we will talk about a lot are roles. They all are important. Some of them are more noticeable than others. But if you think about just the miracle of how the body works and all the different components that it takes to make it work, it's very similar to football. There's a lot more than what we see to making a successful football program. A lot more than what you guys see on Friday nights that takes to have a successful football program. And every kid in our program has a vital and important role in it. And I want to make sure that they all understand that each of those roles are important. And what we're asking the kids are to find a role or be given a role, embrace it, and expand it. If we can understand how each of our roles are important and be the best at that role we could be, the more successful we will be as a program. So with that being said, a couple things that I think are important. I say the quarterback is the head of the team and the offensive line is the heart of the team. I think we can take any guy off the street and make him into a pretty good running back or a pretty good linebacker in 3 weeks. I think it's difficult to take a kid off the street and make him a pretty good quarterback or a pretty good offensive lineman in 3 weeks. And so we're really going to work on developing those position groups in our program. And a lot of the decisions that we're going to make are dictated on the fact that we will be doing these things. When it comes down to playing time at the freshman level, we had a freshman staff meeting last night, and we talked about these expectations. We're going to have 22 different starters. There's going to be 11 different offensive and defensive starters. So we will start 22 different players. Doesn't mean that all those 22 players are going to play in that position all game long, but we would like to have everyone experience being a starter, at least share that along to 22 different players. And we're going to work our hardest to get every kid at least one snap in every game. I think that's really important at the freshman level. And there are a lot of questions out there. You know, football is not a cut sport, so everyone's going to make the team. And my philosophy with it is I want all the kids to have a positive experience. I don't know which 5'8" kid that is immature and uncoordinated as a 14-year-old is going to grow up to be an amazing football player as a 17-year-old senior or an 18-year-old senior. And so my goal is to make sure that every kid has a positive experience and every kid dreams about playing on Friday night under the Friday night lights. At the junior varsity level, we'll start introducing the concept of roles. We'll try to play everyone in every game, but that's not going to be something that is a guarantee. We're going to start teaching kids about the roles and teaching them a little bit of meritocracy and earning playing time and playing our best players. And at the junior varsity level, again, it's with a development and preparation view in mind. I really hope to never have 9-0 freshmen, 9-0 JVs, and 3-6 varsity teams. I'd rather have 3-win freshman teams and 3-win JV teams and 9-win varsity teams. And so we're really working on developing our program to really develop kids so that they can succeed on Friday nights. At the varsity level, we're going to play our best kids. Skill and character count. When we talk about best kids, we could have the kid that's the best athlete with the worst attitude, and the other 10 players don't play well with him. And so it really comes into account where it's not, we don't just measure skills, but being a good teammate and being a kid of character is just as important as the ability to run fast and catch a ball and knock people over. And so in our evaluation, that's extremely important because I think that chemistry and belief is much more powerful than 40 times and squat numbers and all these different measurables. I think there's a lot that has to be said about camaraderie, teamwork, and belief in the common good. So you might be right, your kid might be the fastest, but if he's not a good teammate, that makes the other 11 players not as good as they could be, and that makes our team not as good as we could be. Coach Azanaro, the Coach Az rule I kind of borrowed. He's a D-line coach at the University of Oregon. But he said something very interesting because the University of Oregon obviously has been successful lately. And on defense, they play a lot of players. And Coach Az was quoted once about saying, my number one defensive lineman might be my number one when he's 100%. But when he's playing at 60%, my number two at 100% is a lot better than him. And so a lot of times we always think about our kids at their best potential. In football, we definitely are going to think of our kids not just at what they could do at 100%, but what makes our team best in sharing those reps. And what I do know is that this game is evolving to such a high level where it's much harder these days to have kids never come off a football field than it used to be. Back when a lot of you more experienced people have played the game, and even for some of us younger adults, even then when we had guys that could stay on the field all game and be effective, that's a lot more harder to do these days than it used to be. The speed of the game, the intensity of the game, the complexity of the game has grown so much that, some kids might be our best on both sides of the ball, but they might not play every snap on both sides of the ball. And so as we talk about the rules and the roles and that rule, those two things kind of come in combined. And our kids might not be quote-unquote starters, but they definitely have roles in our team and contribute in ways that are extremely important for us to be successful.